My husband got laid off and said we needed to downsize. I agreed and sold my car, cut my shopping, even took on a second job. Months later, I saw him parked outside a jewelry store, with another woman. That night, I handed him a letter. "I found you a job." He opened it, smirking, until he read the first line. His face turned pale. "Wait. This is a court summons?" I nodded. "For financial fraud against your own wife. I never thought I'd post here, but here I am. I've been holding all of this in and it's eating me alive. Maybe writing it out will help. Maybe someone's been through something similar. I don't know. But here's my story. I'm 42. My husband, Mark, is 45. We live in Boston. Been married 12 years. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but stable. We laughed. We had our routines. We did little weekend trips to Salem, Cape Cod, sometimes Maine. We had our issues like anyone else, but nothing that rang any serious alarms. Then Mark got laid off last June. He worked in IT for a small startup downtown. One day he came home early, middle of the week, face gray and tired. He sat at the kitchen table and told me they were letting people go and he was one of them. I didn't panic. I told him we'd figure it out together. We always had. He said we needed to make cuts. The startup had given him 2 months severance, but after that, things could get tight. He said, "Let's downsize now before we have to." He suggested I sell my car, the Civic I'd had for years and loved. Said we could manage with just his. He told me maybe we should cancel our trip to visit my sister in Chicago. Said we should eat out less, and I could maybe slow down on the online shopping. Fair enough. I agreed to all of it. I didn't argue. I sold my car. I started walking to my office job, which added 40 minutes to my day. I cut my shopping to basically zero. I started budgeting our groceries down to the penny. I even took a second job on weekends. Early morning shifts at a cafe in the North End. I worked 7 days a week. He stayed home. He said he was applying to jobs online, doing Zoom interviews, networking. He'd tell me about leads that never seemed to go anywhere. Sometimes he'd be gone during the day and say he had coffee meetings with old colleagues. I believed him. I thought we were in survival mode together. I started noticing little things. He didn't seem stressed. At all. He stopped helping around the house. He got oddly defensive when I asked simple things like, "How did the interview go?" or "Did you follow up with that recruiter?" He started taking longer showers. New cologne. I told myself maybe he was trying to stay positive. Maybe keeping up appearances made him feel normal. Then one day, everything changed. It was a Saturday. I had just finished a long shift at the cafe. My feet hurt, I was exhausted, and I decided to stop by a small bakery on my walk home. It's right near Washington Street, next to a jewelry store. That jewelry store has huge windows facing the sidewalk. That's when I saw him. Mark. Standing inside. Smiling. Talking to a woman. I froze. He wasn't just standing around. He was standing close. Too close. The woman was younger than me. Tall. Curly brown hair. Expensive-looking coat. She was pointing at a display. Mark leaned in, said something, and they both laughed. Then she took his hand. His hand. They stayed in there for a while. I stood across the street behind a bus stop sign, watching. He handed something to the employee, probably a card. Paid for something. I went home before him. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even call anyone. I just sat in the dark on our couch, waiting. When he got home, I asked how his day was. He said, "More job hunting." Then he kissed me on the forehead. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I logged into our bank account. The one he thought I never checked because he handled the finances. And what I saw made my stomach twist. He had been pulling small amounts of money every few days for weeks, hundreds here, hundreds there. Some PayPal transfers. Some ATM withdrawals from places across town. I pulled bank statements going back 6 months. $5,700 was missing. Gone. Not for bills. Not for food. Not for anything I ever saw. I took screenshots. Every single one. And I didn't say a word. The next morning, I took a personal day from work. I called a lawyer. Explained everything. She was quiet for a while and then said, "You may want to consider fraud if those funds were used without consent." We worked on the paperwork together. It took weeks. Quiet, careful weeks. I went about my day like everything was fine. I made dinner. Did laundry. Had fake conversations about his job search. I didn't ask about the woman. I didn't mention the jewelry store. Until the night I handed him the letter. He was watching a movie, some dumb action flick. I walked over, handed him a sealed envelope, and said, "Hey. I found you a job." He smirked. "Really? What is it?" He opened it. The smirk died in seconds. His eyes scanned the page. He blinked. Looked again. Then looked at me. "This is a court summons," he said. I nodded. "For financial fraud. Against your own wife." He just stared. "How?" he whispered. I smiled. "Let's just say the bank knows everything now." So, after I handed Mark the summons and dropped the fraud bombshell, he didn't say a word for a long time. Just sat there. Pale. Staring at the letter like it might change if he blinked enough times. Then he stood up slowly, folded the papers, and said, "I need some air." And walked out. Didn't say where. Didn't take his phone. Just walked out like it was a normal evening stroll. I didn't follow him. I sat back down and tried to breathe. He was gone all night. The next morning, he came back around 9 a.m. I expected rage. I expected lies. Instead, he looked calm. Too calm. That scared me more than if he'd screamed. He said, "You didn't have to go this far." I said, "You stole from me." His voice stayed flat. "You're my wife. It was our money." I said, "You used it to cheat. That's not our anything." Then came the twist. He walked into our bedroom and came back with a file folder. He threw it on the table in front of me. I opened it. Inside? Credit card statements. Rental receipts. One for a downtown loft I'd never heard of. Another was for a luxury car rental. Uber records. Flight tickets, too, to Aruba. Dated 3 months ago. I stared at him. "You took her on a vacation?" He shrugged. "It was already paid for. You would have ruined it if I invited you." That was when I lost it. I screamed. I threw the file across the room. I called him every name I could think of. He just stood there like he didn't care. That scared me more than anything. Because at that moment, I realized, I didn't know him at all. And then he smiled. A small, smug smile. "You think you've won something?" he said. "You won't come out clean from this either." "What does that mean?" I asked, my voice shaking. He walked toward me slowly, looked me right in the eye, and said, "Let's just say the account I pulled from wasn't exactly under your name alone." "You sure you read the fine print?" I felt dizzy. I went straight to the lawyer. We dug deeper into the accounts. He was right. Some of the funds came from an investment account we opened 5 years ago, under both our names. But I had put in most of the money. He had transferred some of it into another joint account, then slowly bled it out. Technically? Not illegal. Morally? Disgusting. But then we found something else. Mark had opened a business loan in my name. I didn't know about it. Never signed anything. It was opened using my social, my information. He had access to everything. The business? A fake company. And now there was over $14,000 in debt tied to me. I nearly fainted. My lawyer's face turned serious. This changes everything. This is identity fraud. This is criminal. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch a wall. I wanted to find that woman he was with and tell her what a liar he was. But all I could do was sit there, numb. He didn't just cheat. He built a second life, on my name, my credit, my money. All while I worked 2 jobs, walked in snow because I sold my car, skipped lunches to save money. And the worst part? He acted like I was overreacting. I started getting calls. Debt collectors. Banks. Credit checks I never authorized. One day I came home and found a letter from the IRS. There had been some confusing tax activity on the joint return he filed, without me. He hadn't just lied to me. He'd lied to the government too. When I confronted him about it, he just looked bored. Said I was being dramatic. Told me, it's not that serious. That night, I took every file, every statement, every email, and went to the police. This wasn't just a marriage falling apart anymore. It was financial abuse. It was theft. And maybe worse. And the final twist? 2 nights ago, I got a call from a number I didn't know. A woman's voice said, "Hi. I don't know how to say this, but I think we've both been seeing the same man." Yeah. It was her. She said she saw my name on one of his envelopes at the loft. Googled me. Found my job. Found my lawyer's name on a piece of mail. She had no idea he was married. She thought they were building a life together. She had her own story. And it's worse than mine. So remember how the woman from the jewelry store called me? We met. She asked to meet in public, said she felt nervous and didn't know who to trust. So we met at a coffee shop in Cambridge, neutral ground. Her name is Maya. She's 35, works in marketing, lives in Back Bay. She looked tired, embarrassed, and honestly, shattered. She started by apologizing. Said she had no idea he was married. She met him on a dating app almost a year ago, around the same time Mark got laid off. He told her his name was Mark, with a C. Said he was an entrepreneur. Claimed he had sold a small business and was now investing in real estate. She said he was charming. Too charming. But she believed him. He told her he wasn't ready to meet her family yet, said he had trust issues from a toxic ex, me, apparently. She said they mostly stayed at his loft and traveled for weekends. She showed me pictures. There were dozens. Aruba. Vermont. New York. Her smiling. Him kissing her cheek. Them on a boat. And then she pulled out the big one. An engagement ring. He proposed last month, she said, her voice breaking. At a vineyard in Rhode Island. I said yes. I just stared at the ring. That ring? That's what he bought at the jewelry store. With my money. Then she said something that made my stomach turn. He told me he used to be married, Maya said. He said she passed away a few years ago. He told her I was dead. I couldn't even respond. My mouth went dry. This man didn't just lie, he erased me. He was living a full lie with this woman while still sleeping under my roof, eating my food, driving my car. And proposing to someone else. But that's not even the worst part. Maya took a breath and said, I thought I was going crazy. A few months ago, I found a woman's necklace in his car, and he told me it was his sister's. Then I found 2 different prescriptions in the bathroom cabinet, one in your name. That's when I got suspicious. So she started digging. That's when she found another woman. Not me. Not her. A third. A woman named Elise. Lives in Somerville. Met him, also on an app, last winter. Elise thought he was a private consultant who worked from home. Said they'd only been seeing each other casually, but he told her she was the only one who really got him. He used my car to drive to her place. Maya said she already reached out to Elise, who had started putting things together too. The three of us are now connected by group text, sending screenshots, emails, bank statements, photos. The more we dig, the more we find. He had different names for different women. Mark with a C. Marcus. One woman knew him as Eli, his supposed middle name. Different job stories. Different stories about us. I went back to the lawyer. Told her everything. She added identity fraud and bigamy investigations to the file. Because guess what? That proposal to Maya? She looked into the paperwork. He filed for a marriage license using a fake last name. He was trying to marry her while still married to me. And now, the police are taking this seriously. They've opened a formal investigation into financial and identity fraud, possible bigamy, and online scamming. I gave them everything: text logs, the ring receipt, the joint account withdrawals, the fake loan in my name, and Maya's engagement photos. But here's the final twist, for now. The loft? He doesn't own it. He was subletting it illegally under another fake name. The real tenant showed up last week after coming back from a work assignment overseas, and found all his stuff gone, the locks changed, and a strange woman's perfume in the air. That man is now pressing charges too. It's unraveling fast. Mark or Marcus, or Eli, or whatever name he's using this week, is missing. His phone goes straight to voicemail. No one's seen him. Maya said his car is gone. He hasn't been home. I called his sister, she thought he was still working in Chicago. That's where he told her he was. The detective assigned to the case said he may have left the state. Maybe even the country. I'm still working. Still trying to untangle my credit mess. The bank is cooperating now. The cafe job let me cut back hours, thankfully. I'm exhausted. I barely sleep. But I'm not backing down. He ruined my peace. He used my name, my trust, my life. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows who he really is. It had been almost 2 weeks since Mark disappeared. 2 weeks of police reports, group chats with Maya and Elise, daily emails with my lawyer, and calls from debt collectors. 2 weeks of checking every social media account, tracking credit card usage, and staying up late staring at the front door, waiting for him to come crawling back. And then I got a text. It was from Maya. He's here. At the restaurant. With a fourth woman. She sent a photo. There he was. Sitting at a candlelit table at a trendy rooftop spot in the Seaport district. Wearing a suit. Hair slicked back. Smiling. Across from him? A woman I didn't recognize. Blonde, elegant, probably late 30s. Her hand rested on his. I felt sick. But also angry in a way I'd never been before. I texted Maya back, "Don't leave. I'm on my way." I also messaged Elise. She replied instantly, "Let's end this." It was cold that night. Windy. I threw on my coat and walked into that restaurant like I was stepping into a war zone. Maya and Elise were waiting at the bar. When they saw me, Maya nodded. They're still at the table. Booth by the window. We walked over together. 3 angry women. One man who didn't think we'd ever find each other. And the newest victim, completely unaware. He saw us coming. His eyes widened. He leaned back like he was trying to disappear into the leather booth. The blonde woman looked confused. Mark? What's going on? I didn't wait. I slammed a thick file of documents on the table, photos, emails, bank statements, the court summons copy, the loan papers in my name. Your name isn't Mark, I said. It's Mark. You're married. To me. You're also engaged to her, I pointed at Maya, and lying to her, I nodded at Elise. And apparently now, you've moved on to victim number 4. The whole restaurant went quiet. He stammered, this isn't what it looks like. Maya, we've seen your bank accounts. Elise, we've talked to the police. Me, you're done. The blonde woman looked horrified. She stood up and backed away from the table. Are you saying, he's married? Engaged? To all of you? I said nothing. I just handed her one of the files and walked away. She followed. Maya and Elise followed. Mark just sat there. Frozen. Outside the restaurant, it exploded. Maya was crying. Elise was shaking. The fourth woman, her name was Heather, started sobbing. He said he wanted to introduce me to his mother next week. Maya said, he said you were his cousin when I found that text from you. Heather looked at me. How long were you married? 12 years. She covered her mouth. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I believed her. She was hurt, just like us. Inside the restaurant, I could see Mark through the window, talking to the manager, probably making some excuse. But it was too late. We didn't go back in. We left him sitting there with the mess he made. Mark tried to reach out the next day. Texted me some pathetic line, we need to talk. This got out of hand. I didn't reply. Instead, I let my lawyer do the talking. Fraud charges were moving forward. The debt collectors now had police reports to go on. The IRS was investigating the fake returns. And best of all? He got fired from the part-time consulting gig he had secretly picked up under another fake name. They found out everything. I made sure of it. He lost everything. He even tried to show up at my job one day. I had security walk him out. You'd think I'd feel victorious. I don't. I feel tired. Some days, I feel like I'm drowning in paperwork, debt repair, emails with lawyers. Other days, I feel numb. Like my life isn't real. Like I spent 12 years sleeping next to a stranger, and only now am I truly waking up. I lost more than money. I lost time. I lost memories I thought were real. I lost the version of myself who trusted so easily. But I also gained something. Maya and Elise and we still talk. So does Heather. We've even joked about starting a podcast or writing a book. We meet sometimes just to scream into a pillow or drink wine and laugh at how ridiculous this all is. It's healing. We're not victims anymore. We're survivors. We're rebuilding. All of us. Sometimes people ask me if I'll ever forgive him. No. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'll tell you this, I've learned to never ignore that little voice in your head when something feels wrong. I've learned that silence, indifference, and smug smiles are all red flags in disguise. And most of all? I've learned that starting over is scary, but staying in the dark is worse. So I'm turning the page. He may have written the first part of our story. But I'm the one holding the pen now.